Hi, it's Sean, the Fluency Awesomeizer. This is Decoding Multi-Syllabic Words, episode 108. I got a handful of words I want to look at today, but first I want you to get ready to read a passage I've written. I want you to read this right out loud and definitely click pause to give yourself plenty of time. I don't want you to rush, but read this right out loud, click pause. All right, were any of those words tricky to read? Keep watching if so. In this episode, I'm going to review these 5 words from that passage, show you some information, maybe some strategies you might want to recall next time you're stuck on words like these when you're reading independently. First, a reminder of the fable, the tortoise and the hare, and the moral, slow and steady wins the race. All right, very important advice when you're stuck on big unfamiliar words like this one, and I'll use unfamiliar as an example. Think of these words as races. There is a finish line, and if you read like the hare, you might want to get to that finish line first. You'll zip through big words like this. That's where mistakes can happen, but if you read like the tortoise, take it slow and steady when you come to these big unfamiliar words. That patience is definitely going to help improve your ability to decode them. Keep that in mind. Let's practice. All right, we looked at this word in the passage. I'm going to look at towards the end. I can see the word late. That word jumps out at me when I look at this word, right? And there's starts with insulate. Oh yeah, this is the word insulated. It's a past tense verb. It's also an adjective, and it comes from the root word insulate, which is a verb which originates in Latin. Ancient Latin, there's a word insulatus, meaning actually to make like an island, right? Insulatus. That's because insula is a Latin word meaning island. Isn't this interesting? So from that word, in insula, there's the word insulatus in Latin. Means isolated, as if you're marooned on an island by yourself. Insulatus. So that's the origin of this word. English kept this part of the Latin word and added an E at the end, and now we have the word insulate, meaning still to isolate. It's one of the meanings of insulate. But it also means a way to protect, and most people are familiar with insulate. They use that pink stuff to insulate homes and buildings, right? So put a D on the end of insulate, and you've got insulated, which means protected from the cold, like your home is insulated from cold weather, or protected from harm, like if you're up in a castle tower by yourself, you're kind of insulated from any sort of harm. Insulated. Take a look at that again. Insulate. The long A from that silent E, and there's ed. All right, not to be confused with this word, insult, insulted. Past tense verb. It's an adjective as well, insulted. The root word is insult, which is a verb or a noun. And the origin is Latin, insultare. Insultare in Latin means to leap upon. Yeah, to leap upon. Yeah, to leap upon. So that part of the Latin word insultare became insult in English, which, if you think about it, is a kind of an attack, right? An insult, to insult someone. Put an ED on the end of insult. You've got a new word, insulted. All right, this word starts with sol, and it's not salt or salt. There's an I in the middle of this word. So it could be solid, and there's tude, long E-tude. Yeah, this is the word solitude. It's a noun. And surprise, it also originates in Latin. There's a Latin word, solitudinem, which means loneliness. That's because the Latin root of that is solus. And solus means alone, right? We just talked about isolated on an island. Solus, that's where we get the word solo in that Latin root. So pretty interesting background story there. Solitudinem, this part of the Latin word was kept in English where an E was added to the end. Now we have the word solitude, which still, some people like to run with the pack. Some people prefer solitude, right, to be alone. Solitude. All right. This word, very tricky. I'm going to start at the end. I can see the word ate at the end. This doesn't say Kate, though. Just like before, there is an I in the middle of this word. All right, the I is hard to keep track of sometimes. Got to watch those I's. There's also an interesting vowel pair, IA here. So what do we do with that? This C followed by an I is going to be an S sound, a soft C. So is that psi, psi-ate? And there's so-psi-ate, as so-psi-ate. Oh, this is associated. Past tense verb, associated. This is a tricky word. It's also an adjective. All right, this is going to be complicated. The verb associate. And the adjective associate, this ci can be pronounced c, associate, like I've been pronouncing it, c8, but it can also be pronounced she, associate. All right, so it's confusing it, like associate. The noun, however, associate, that ci can be c. It's the ate part that's tricky. It's not pronounced ate, the noun. It's pronounced it, associate, right? As if it were spelled like this, associate. Tricky word, the origin is socius in Latin. This is pronounced in Latin, socius, and that means a friend or a member of whatever, socius. And associare is another Latin word that means to join with, right? Associare. And associatus is another Latin word meaning joined with, all right? So that part of the Latin word is where we get the English word associate, adding in a silent E. It seems to be a pattern in English. So we've got this confusing word associate, all right? The CI, you need to know this CI can sound like shh, all right? You see it all the time. You know the word special, that CI sounds like shh, special. You may have mistakenly spelled special with an SH before. Here's the word social from social studies. That CI in social sounds like an SH, social. Here's magician. CI magically sounds like an SH, magician or magician. So associate, that CI can sound like she also, associate, depends on, I guess, how you learn how to pronounce it. But you're familiar with the she part from appreciate, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, who do we appreciate? So the CI can also sound like C, associate, and the verb associate, to join with or associate. Right? It could be either one. You just put a D on the end of that to get the new word, associ or she ated. Phew, it's a tricky word. All right, the last one, sus. Is that SC? Is that going to be skit? It's pronounced like skit? Could be. Tate, resuscitated. Oh, this is the word resuscitated. Yeah, that's a past tense verb. Root is resuscitate, another tricky word. Originates in Latin, resuscitare. Suscitare in Latin means to raise or revive. And you're familiar, means again, right? As in repeat. So resuscitate, there's another Latin word, resuscitatus, meaning to revive again or to bring back to life, resuscitatus. So this part of that Latin word carried over to English, where a silent E was added again. And now we have the word resuscitate. And if you know about CPR, the R in CPR stands for resuscitate. And the SC in resuscitate does not sound like skit, right? That C, because it's followed by an I, that is going to be a soft C, right? So that's a rule you need to know about C. It sounds like it should be spelled with an S. So we just add a D to resuscitated, and you've got a really tricky word to spell, resuscitated, that means revived. Resuscitated. That's it for today. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on Facebook for more decoding videos like this one. Tell a friend, a family member, or a teacher about me. All right, I love to think I can help out more people. My Facebook page, there is a photo album full of reading challenges I've written to help you continue practice decoding those big words at home and to awesomize your fluency. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Come back and see me soon.